Hello everyone, this is a bit of a different vid, something that's just impromptu. A lot of you have asked, what equipment do you have? What does it do? And what should I get when I'm starting out actually mixing? So I'm going to try and answer those questions in a badly put together video in one take. So hope you enjoy, and I hope it explains something and it's somewhat coherent. Anyway, so this is the setup that I usually mix on, which you see in the YouTube videos. I guess where do we start? Probably the CDJs. So what I have is two Pioneer CDJ 1000s. These are exactly the same as normal CD players, but they've got the added functionality of being able to manipulate the CD, so you can move it forwards, backwards, things like that. Now these are CDJ 800s. They're basically exactly the same things, but these are the model down from these ones here. These ones can do a few extra things. I find that they load up CDs a little bit faster than their 800 counterparts. They've got hot cues on there. They've got a jog adjust wheel, so you can make it tighter and looser. So basically, if you put the jog adjust on light and you spin it back or forward, it takes a long time. If you put it on heavy, it doesn't take as long to spin back, and it's a bit looser on the feel of it. It's got some prettier buttons, it looks a bit sexier, and the display's got a few more characters on it. So as you can see, Make and Bacon shows up there nicely. We've got the time, track name, you can scroll through artists, but I haven't organised and labelled my tracks properly, but that's track name, artist, album, and things like that. And that's also got a waveform display. Basically what this shows is it shows the dips and the peaks in the track, so you can figure out where the breakdowns are. So if you press play on the CD player and we go through the track, you can hear the breakdown is at this part in the track.
Delicious.
It's indeed delicious. But as that green bar goes across, it represents where you are in the track. The 800 doesn't have anything like that. It's also got a bit more of a pitch range and independent touch brake and start controls and stuff like that. But anyway, probably gone into too much detail there, but I hope it explains something about the 1000. The reason why I would get one of these as opposed to other CD players is they've got extremely fast read times. They're really reliable. They're a club standard. What else? They've got a really nice large platter, they're really easy to use, and their scratching's actually really tight. When you move the platter, it does what it says it will do. So they're all front load, in case you don't know. Sorry for those of you that already know this stuff, but yeah, CD goes in, it loads. It plays MP3 CDs as normal CDs as well. I know the new CDJ 900s and 2000s have a much better display than this. They can read more formats, but they also require you to sell your house in order to afford them. So yeah, that's basically the CDJ 1000. The CDJ 800 is basically the same, but it's got a few things that are different. It doesn't have hot cues, it's got auto loops. So basically what happens is, if you put a track in and then you press 1, it'll cut the beat an eighth. If you press it 2, it cuts the beat a quarter, half a beat, and things like that. And it will just automatically loop beats for you rather than you having to do it manually. So for example, if I put this in here, as you can see, it fit Make and Bacon on the entire CDJ 1000, but not this one here. Has a bit of a different track display. If I was to loop that track, you can do that manually, but
flavor.
just automates the process a bit. That's assuming it gets the BPM right. It doesn't often in hardcore music. And then some other stuff, but yeah, not worth mentioning. I would recommend either of those players. If you can afford the little bit extra, get the CDJ 1000. It's a much better player, and it looks a lot sexier, I think. But definitely do your research when you're buying CDJs. Denon have a pretty good CDJ as well. I think it's a 3500, but don't quote me on that. So anyway, now we'll move on to the mixer that I have. It's Pioneer DJM 800 mixer. The reason I bought it is because it has the 4 channels on it. It's got color effects, which are really, really, really useful when mixing hardcore music. It's got onboard effects as well, and it integrates well with the EFX 1000, which I'll get to in a little bit. It's got talk over functions, and it's just, I find it's a really solid mixer, and again, it's fairly club standard. If you do go to a club, and it's a fairly big one, usually you'll see a DJM 800 there. So I'll just give you a quick run through of what it does. Basically, you've got your crossfader, which selects which deck the audio is going to. So same with the upfader. They're basically volume controls for each CDJ, and what I've got is this CDJ hooked up to channel 3 here, this CDJ to channel 2, this CDJ to channel 1, and this CDJ to channel 4. So basically I can control the volumes independently of each one. Now, color effects on here, and this is one thing which I really love about this mixer, is you've got independent dials for each channel or track that you're playing. So say you're mixing a track and you accidentally stuff it up, which happens quite a lot, you can just hit the filter. I don't know if you can see that, I'm sorry, but that one's filter, and you can just filter that down.
Tasty.
And then there's crush. And it's fairly versatile, it helps a lot when you're mixing, but yeah, I love them and I use them heaps. The effects on board, a lot of people ask about the roll effect, which I think only the Pioneer mixers have. Some of the new other mixers, and you'll say, no, the Allen and Heath ones do. I'm sorry if they do, but I'm not aware of it. Which is the effect I use most, I think, and most people ask, how do you make that looping sound? So what you usually do is, this is the effect on button. It's a bit hard to do it with one hand, but anyway, it's got stacks of effects on board: reverse roll, roll, chorus, robot, phaser, flanger, filter. Does all sorts of stuff, and I love it.
Flavor. Tasty.
And I find that you can drive this mixer really hard. With most mixers you shouldn't hit reds because it is distorting, but I find this mixer deals with distortion really well. Sound quality is great, it's got digital outputs and a hell of a lot of inputs, as you can see on the back, and master controls, booth outputs, and an automatic talk over function. So if I'm talking on the mic, it'll automatically drop the music for me, which is handy on the Aussie Hardcore Show and when you're playing on radio shows and recording mixes. Yeah, what next? EFX 1000. So basically this is an external effects unit. Basically all this does is effects, and it does what this column on the DJM 800 does. This is an effector as well, but what you can do if you want additional effects on top of this is put it to send return and then pipe the audio out to this box, and then you can do whatever in here and it will come back out. The reason I got this is because I needed an effects unit on my old Pioneer mixer, which was an old analog DJM 707 scratch mixer, and it didn't have any of these effects on board. So I bought this before I had this effects unit, and to be honest, if I already had this, I wouldn't have bought the EFX 1000, just because I think the onboard effects on this are absolutely excellent. They're easy to trigger, and it starts to become a little much when you have to select, you send return on this when you're mixing, enable this, do your effect on this, disable this, and stuff like that. And I find when you do send return audio to this mixer, it does drop in sound quality a little bit. It's probably not noticeable to most people, but you find when you are mixing you do notice it. So what we've got is send return on here, which means the audio is being piped out through this box, and what I do when I play it, now you can see the audio coming in and out, except the reason the output's doing that is going up and down is because there's a transform effect on at the moment. There's heaps of effects: delay, echo, pitch, echo, trans, flanger, filter, phaser, etc. And this box gives you really, really, really good control over the effects rather than this. This is pretty much what you need, but this just takes it to an absolutely next level. And unless you're a really creative DJ, I think you probably don't need one of these, but I'm still glad I've got it because it does let you experiment, and when you do get a little bit bored mixing just, track in, track out, it's good to pick this up and try and learn something new. So one thing that's I do with this, if I've got the CD handy, is of scratch samples, which I do. So I'll pop that in there. So what we've done is we've put the scratch CD in there, we've got a scratch sample queued up. And on here we've got a transform effect, for example. We've dialed in the BPM of the hardcore track, which is 179 or 180. It's close enough for the purpose. And then what we'll do is we'll do a quarter transform. On here we've got the depth pot set to 2 o'clock, character 12 o'clock, and the mix pot at 2 o'clock. And then what we can do is just loop this sample. So hit that. I'll try that one more time. It's hard with one hand. So that's basically an endless loop, and it'll keep playing that scratch sample. But what happens if I play it, then I turn this you can get some cool effect like that. If you've got it in time with the song, and you've got it selected to the channel that you want to affect, you've only got to send the channel that you want to scratch, and in this case this CDJ is on channel 4. So we'll play this. So you can basically do things like that. There's feedback loops and stuff, but there's no way I'm going to be able to do that with one hand. But yeah, heaps on this box. Pioneer EFX 1000. It's a great unit. I absolutely love it. Now these Stanton ST120 turntables, basically, you know what record players do. You turn them on, they spin around. There's slip mats on here for DJs, basically for scratching and mixing, so you can hold the record at a mix point and then let go and it will play. The reason I got these is because they've got a huge amount of torque compared to some other players. A lot of people say they stand by Technics 1200s, and they are great decks, but I just like the torque that the Stanton, I've forgotten what these are called for a second, ST150s offer. And yes, I do play vinyl, not as much as CDs. Everyone will say, I've never seen you play with records. But I do sometimes, and I do buy my records. I've got a few hardcore ones. And the track of the day, I guess, could be, oh look, it's a muffin leaf here, I don't know. These guys, Rocket RP8s, a lot of people either love these or hate these. A lot of high-end producers don't say, no, don't get the Rockets, but I absolutely love them. The reason I like them is because they're at a really good price point for a studio monitor, and they do the job for me anyway. I'm not a complete audiophile, but they're more than adequate for what I've got in mind. And underneath there I've got the RP10S, which is just a sub for that, but I find it's a little bit too much bass with the Rocket 8s. If I had my choice again, I'd probably get a Rocket KRK6. And if you're in the market for studio monitors, the Series 2 of these monitors are out right now, so they're just that much better. And also, in terms of headphones, I've used the Pioneer HDJ 1000s, but a lot of people use the Stanton offerings, and I have a friend here. Hello. Hey, he loves to chew cables. Go away. Where was I? So yeah, that's basic rundown of the setup. EFX 1000, Pioneer DJ M800, CDJ 1000, CDJ 800, Stanton ST150s, Rocket KRK RP8s, and yeah, HDJ 1000 headphones. If I were you starting, and if you're just starting to DJ gear is unfortunately a fairly expensive thing, and it's an ongoing expense because you have to buy the tracks. What I would do personally is try and pick up a copy of either Virtual DJ on the computer or Track to DJ Studio. It teaches you the basics of mixing, and basically gives you an idea of whether you'll actually like to be a DJ and mix and things like that, without making a huge investment. The software does cost a little bit of money. I think last time I checked, Track to DJ Studio was about $300, but head over to the website. I'll pop in some links in the descriptions and all this gear in the description. But if you're looking for gear as a first time thing, everyone's going to have different opinions on this, but my personal opinion, I would get the Pioneer DJM 400. That's basically the little baby brother of this guy. It's got 2 channels, and it's still got this effects column here. It doesn't have quite as many effects, but it's still a solid mixer. It's built tough, and it's got 2 channels, and it will last you a long time. And I would also get the CDJ 400s if you can deal with the small platter. Ravine has them, and I've used them a few times. I don't personally like the little tiny platter, but that could be just because I'm used to the big platter. It's just got, I don't know, it just feels nicer. But the CDJ 400 definitely wins out in terms of price and features, whereas this doesn't have USB support and all of the damn fangled new things that the new technology is getting. So yeah, I hope that helps you guys starting to mix. If you've got any more questions, let me know, djcotts@gmail.com. Sorry if I don't get back to you quickly, and please articulate your email as well, not like, oh my god. I don't know. But anyway, hope that helps, and take care.